interesting times. This week's stories. Corpus Christi residents support keeping families together. Atlanta joins the nationwide Families Belong Together rally. Lakeland joins the fight against separating families. Japan Summer Festival arrives in Tampa. Bargain hunters look for flea market deals. Plus, Hawaii continues to address statewide blood shortage through outreach events. RIMPAC 2018, the world's largest maritime exercise, kicks off in Hawaii. Hello everyone, I'm Alan Basoyahe bringing you stories from around the globe, and this is Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Corpus Christi residents support keeping families together. EBC Texas' Kathleen Gregorio with the story.
As you can see behind me right now, hundreds have gathered from all over South Texas here in Corpus Christi's Cold Park. You can hear cars honking as they support the group of people that have come here to rally against the separation of families and children under the recent immigration policies. We're here today with Mary Alice Gonzalez, one of the organizers. Mary, what can you say, what is the name of this organization?
The organization is Corpus Christi Indivisible. It's from here from Corpus Christi, and I'm the group leader. Our mission for Indivisible is to stop the Trump agenda. And the reason we're getting together today, because it's a nationwide event to keep families together. And we have people coming here to show their support for us because we're standing up to resist this action the president has taken of separating families and keeping them together. Families need to be together. And it's very important to get the children together. Where are the children? There are about 4,000 children that have been separated away from their parents. Can you imagine how that feels, to be separated from your child?
My name is Daniel Plata, and I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. And I'm protesting and letting our government know that what they're doing is entirely wrong. Donald Trump is breaking the law. Our country was formed by immigrants, and we're all immigrants here. So these people that are running away from gangs and the cartels and everything, they just want a quiet, peaceful life. And that's what I'm doing here today, is giving them, protesting that right for them.
Purpose is to show our community that we are standing firm with the immigrants. We believe in keeping families together, because families should be together, and stop this inhumane treatment of immigrants. They are not animals, they are not criminals, they are not illegal, they are human beings seeking refuge in our country. The turnout is wonderful. We're very happy that so many people came to support us. Some community people can help us by coming out to all of our protests and being here with us and showing support. That's the main thing. You can help donating money to organizations that are posting bail and bond, and also by calling your members of Congress. Call your representatives, federal and local and state. Keep calling, keep calling. The next thing we can do is to go out to vote. Don't forget to vote. Vote is your power. Voting is our power. We're going to have to do it with a vote.
Reporting from Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, your EBC correspondent, and I'm 1 with 25.
Thanks, Kathleen. Atlanta, Georgia joins the nationwide Families Belong Together rally. Colleen Knight reports.
On June 30th, 2018, community members all across the United States gathered together in protest of current immigration policies. In Atlanta, Georgia, citizens marched from the Atlanta Detention Center to the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, then gathered at the center to listen to prominent speakers such as U.S. Representative John Lewis.
I came out here because I think it's really important when everybody can come together and show strength and solidarity in numbers.
A diverse crowd gathered in Atlanta to show a united front.
It feels good because so many people come out. It's always great to see people from all walks and races, young and old.
Some attendees had a very strong opinion about U.S. policymakers.
Donald Trump should be ashamed of himself. His ancestors were immigrants. His wife is an immigrant. We all came to this country. The Indians were here. Would Melania want Barron to be separated from her? I don't think so. And I do care even about Barron.
Ms. Stevens also urges citizens to exercise their democratic right to vote.
All the people here need to vote. It's all about voting, and we will be empowered.
Edward Adams warns legislators that U.S. citizens will speak through their votes and that their voices will be heard.
I want to say this to Congress and the Senate: your time is up. We're going to vote you out. You need to either grow a heart, build a conscience, or your time. You need to find a new job.
On either side of the political aisle, there's much contention over immigration issues, and Atlanta, Georgia is no different. Even legislators felt compelled to come out and show support for those demonstrating today. Reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, I am Colleen Knight, and I'm 1 with 25.
Thanks, Colleen. Up next, Lakeland joins the fight against separating families. Japan Summer Festival arrives in Tampa. And bargain hunters look for flea market deals. Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition will return in a moment. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. I'm Alan Basoyahe. Lakeland residents joined the fight against separating families. Melissa Allen reports.
In downtown Lakeland, despite the rain, protesters marched to the streets to walk in solidarity for the Families Belong Together rally, a nationwide protest against the Trump administration's zero-tolerance immigration policies, which have resulted in thousands of children being separated from their families.
I'm here because I think it's the worst thing that happened to America, to have families separated and children taken away from their parents.
I'm very upset about what's happening with the separation of children and their parents. I feel like it's abuse of the kids. It's going to traumatize them, and we have to stop it as fast as we can.
Protesters, both young and old, with their bold signs and loud chants, sent a clear message of disapproval to the government officials in the current administration.
The fundamental message is simply stop this now. It's absolutely clear that the President of the United States has currently, this moment, the power to completely stop this process. It doesn't have to be a long and involved process. It can be done immediately.
Many protesters also urged their fellow citizens to take advantage of their right to vote.
Obviously, voting is very important. Come out and march when there's a march going on. Make sure your voices are heard. Call your senator, call your representative. Make sure that they know that this is not an American way to do things.
There's so many people my age that don't vote anymore because they're afraid that their voice is not going to be heard. We need to change that because honestly, I know so many 20-somethings that don't vote and they really need to in order for things to change. They always say they hate the government. Well, make it change.
Reporting from Lakeland, Florida, this is Melissa Allen with the EBC Florida Bureau, always 1 with 25.
Thanks, Melissa. Japan Summer Festival arrives in Tampa, Florida. Angelo Corpus with the report.
Hi everyone, it's Angelo. When people think of Japan, they'll most likely think of sushi, samurais, and sumo wrestling. But Japan is more than that. Japanese culture is an interesting culture that continues to evolve, which is why many people continue to admire this country and everything it has to offer. Which brings us to Asia Trends Japanese Summer Festival of 2018 here in Tampa, Florida. Japanese culture has stayed not only in Japan, but also throughout the whole world. Historically, their culture has origins from other neighboring countries like China and Korea. One interesting game played is goldfish scooping known as Kingyo Skui. You have to scoop the goldfish using a poi, and if you catch it, you can keep it. But it's not easy as it sounds. The tool is made with thin washi paper that can easily break in the water. Kimonos and yukatas are traditional Japanese clothing. Various people were wearing them at the festival.
thought it would be a good way to represent my culture, and I never get to wear this often, so I thought it would be a great occasion to wear it. I think that when you want to go to a Japanese festival, it's just my most beautiful kimono I think I have, and so I think it's a very important day because I never get to wear it. So I just think that it's a special day to be surrounded by people who understand the kimono and the yukata, so it's a good place to be.
This Japanese summer festival even has a way of gathering various people together.
I think that it's you never see like many festivals that bring people together with a certain culture. So I think it's very cool that you get to see people who all connect on one thing. I actually didn't expect so much, I guess, so I was surprised. This was more than I expected, so I don't know necessarily what I expected, but I surely expected a lot of people, and that's exactly what it is. It's special because it brings people together over culture, so bringing all races together to experience a beautiful culture is very admirable, and I don't really commonly see this. Rather than at a convention center, which is just cosplay, they have actual Japanese people teaching you and letting you try on yukata. It's very generous, I think, of a culture to let everyone experience.
So after experiencing such a unique event, people from all over come to support this Japanese festival. So go check out a festival happening in your area. I'm Angelo Corpuz, and I am always one with 25.
This celebration, which is also called Tampa Natsumatsuri, highlights Japanese culture and art. From a Japan Summer Festival to bargains at a flea market, Angelo Corpus is back with another story from Tampa, Florida. Let's see what kind of deals can be found despite being on a strict budget.
Hi everyone, it's Angelo. Indoor or outdoor and varying in size, there are thousands of flea markets throughout the US alone. Some held a few times a month and some held every weekend. Here in Florida, we wanted to check out a local flea market here in Tampa on achieving valuable finds with a $10 budget. Let's go take a look. Throughout the flea market, since there are different little and large treasures that can only be found in a local area near you. But there are also different kinds of entertainment, like pianos, for people to take interest in.
Alright guys, we got our first buy. It's an umbrella hat for $1.
Antiques can be found and shown for amusement. There are even useful items such as an umbrella hat and a foldable chair. Hey everyone, my next item will be these fans, these mini USB fans that can be connected to either iPhone or Android. Since it's hot and it's in Florida, people may use this because we need to cool it. Lastly, the flea market can even have secret rare finds such as a Gundam store. The Gundam products were imported straight from Japan. This Gundam store is the largest place that sells Japanese products and figures. For my last purchase, I'm gonna get this Ramen bottle and these mints. These products you can't get anywhere else here in Florida unless you're here in this Gundam place, which is from Japan. They have all these products here, which you can never get at a common place. So check it out and buy some. So, go check out your local flea market. You'll never know if you may find something extraordinary. Signing off from Oldsmar, Florida, I'm Angelo, and I'm always one with 25.
Looks like a lot of fun. Thanks, Angelo. Hawaii continues to address the statewide blood shortage through outreach events. RIMPAC 2018, the world's largest maritime exercise, kicks off in Hawaii. That's next. Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition will return shortly. This is Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. I'm Alan Basoyahe. Hawaii continues to address the statewide blood shortage through outreach events. Alfred Acenas with the story.
The Blood Bank of Hawaii recently co-sponsored a donation drive with the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ in Wahiawa, Central Oahu, as it continues to encourage community members to give blood, especially during the so-called summer doldrums.
You can see a lot of faith-based people, they understand.
Correct.
When you give your time and you give your blood, that's from your own heart, your own conscience, right? And your own soul.
The statewide nonprofit acknowledges the ongoing challenge that not everyone is able to donate for various reasons.
Enough, they can get deferred, right? They can be sick, they can have high blood pressure or not enough iron.
Right.
There's all these percentages that they want to, but they can't. So that alone is configured into the total statistics, right?
To counter any discouragement, Blood Bank of Hawaii believes that educating the public on this act of charity is always critical, especially when the entire U.S. continues to experience a shortage of blood products.
See, what we collect today is not for today.
Correct.
It's for tomorrow.
Correct.
What's happening today is we got to ensure that blood supply in 18 hospitals are fully stocked, because we do not know when one of those trauma cases will occur.
Correct.
If we knew, we'd collect as much as we can the day before.
Right, there's a lot of
We just don't know. Are we prepared for a big, gigantic crisis? We're not. Not enough.
And what about those who still think they don't need to get involved in donating blood?
You don't need a high degree of intelligence. All it takes is an understanding that when a person's on an operating table, we cannot manufacture or get that blood, platelets, or plasma from anywhere else except from another human being.
Correct.
Yeah. So, if only 2% of the population donate, that means 98% of the population are walking around thinking that maybe my blood is not significant because someone else will.
Right.
Well, it becomes significant when they realize that maybe one of their family members, or themselves included, are in that operating table waiting for a blood product.
For more on the Blood Bank of Hawaii, visit bbh.org. Reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm Alfred Acenas for Eagle News. I'm Juan with 25.
We stay with our Hawaii Bureau for news about RIMPAC 2018, the world's largest maritime exercise, kicking off in Hawaii. Once again, here's Alfred Acenas.
25 nations, 45 ships and submarines, 25,000 personnel. In its 26th year, RIMPAC is officially underway. Earlier this week, ships of various sizes and shapes began arriving at Pearl Harbor, to include those from Malaysia and the Philippines, which are sending their own vessels for the very first time. Seen here is the Philippines BRP Davao del Sur. Much larger vessels obviously commanded much more attention, including Australia's HMAS Adelaide and the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson. Delivering the opening remarks was Admiral John Aquilino, commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, who is also participating in his third RIMPAC exercise. Surrounding him were commanders and senior leaders from other nations. Both Aquilino and the task force commander, Vice Admiral John Alexander, emphasized that despite cultural and language differences, the intent is to offer these countries a chance to improve working relations as well as build long-term trust and interdependency, especially in preparation for any crisis. Other highlights of the briefing included welcoming first-time participants and observers from Israel, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Ecuador, and Turkey. However, not everyone supports the idea of having so many ships docked so closely to the sacred grounds of the Pearl Harbor memorials.
Well, right now, I just think it's sad that this stuff has happened, and everybody that was in charge at the time may have or should have been fired at the time. But to allow everybody in here when using common sense, from what I can visually see, why would you take a whole fleet in here and jeopardize 500,000 people all at one time?
Upcoming events for the military community will include an open house or open ship scheduled right here at Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam on July 7. Most of the RIMPAC-related training events will take place throughout the Hawaiian Islands all the way until August 2. Reporting from Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, I'm Alfred Asenas for Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Alfred, for those back-to-back reports. That is this week's Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Join us again next week for stories from our bureaus across the nation and around the globe. Visit our website at Eaglenews.PH and EagleNewsLive.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I'm Alan Basoyahe. I'm 1 with 25.